Elijah Henderson with Cryptid SI and Chasing Night Shadows. We're here today in a local pumpkin patch, and in a couple of days it will be Halloween again. And with Halloween has come the revival of one of horror movies' most iconic serial killers, Michael Myers. And if you don't know who Michael Myers is, just a brief retelling of his story. As a boy, he was wholly innocent and beautiful, but out of nowhere, he snaps and he kills his sister brutally with a butcher knife. And after that, he's taken to a sanitarium for the mentally insane, where he sits there for 15 years. He doesn't say a single thing. Nobody can get him to respond, and he just sits there and waits. At some point, he breaks out of that institution, and he goes back home to his town of Haddonfield, Illinois, where he kills the main character in the movie, tries to, Jamie Lee Curtis. And there seemed to be a supernatural side somehow to Michael, because he could do things that no other human was able to do. He seemed of a supernatural nature. But did you know that there's a high possibility that Michael Myers was based on a supposedly true person from history, and his name was Stanley Stiers, or Stanley Stiers. Stanley's story, he was born in 1912 in Iowa, and the story, as it goes, there was 2 sets of families at the hospital giving birth to children, and the nurse working over the nursery, she just, for whatever reason, decided to switch the children out, sending them out to different families. And you know, Stanley's new parents, they were happy and excited to have a baby boy until they found out that he wasn't theirs. Turns out their child had died in a car crash, and along with his new parents, on the same night they left the hospital. And this caused his parents to be just hateful and despising towards Stanley. They hated him, they abused him, they'd lock him in his room, and they stayed in a usually drunken state. But eventually they got a new child as well, a little girl who they loved named Susie. And Susie became the belle of the ball, and she eventually caught on too to the abuse that was given towards Stanley, and she would yell at him and physically attack him. In 1923, Stanley wanted to go trick-or-treating. He greatly desired to go trick-or-treating, but his parents just wouldn't allow it. However, they did allow Susie to go to a Halloween party the night before, and that would be the last humiliation that Stanley would suffer, because when she got home, he killed her with a butcher knife, and then he commenced to go into his parents' room and killing them while they were asleep, even going so far as to kill the family dog. And for the very first time, Stanley got to go trick-or-treating, but this time he brought more tricks than treats, as he went to a lot of the homes, house after house, killing his classmate bullies. One of the homes he went in and killed his bully and his family, and one of the alleged survivors said that this child had such supernatural strength that he would throw grown men around like they were children's toys, and then he'd stab them and kill them. The next morning, the federal agents came, and they found the child sitting on the swings at school, eating candy, like nothing had happened. So they whisked him away to a mental institution, where they studied him. They wanted to know why a perfect child could just snap and kill all these people. They studied him for the next 13 years, and they couldn't find any trace of demonic activity or supernatural possession or anything about the boy. Then, in 1936, it happened again on Halloween night. Stanley was 24 years old, he stood about 6'4", and he weighed about 260 pounds. He was a monster of a man, yet he usually kept to himself and he was quiet. On Halloween night, a couple of the orderlies decided to just start harassing him, and he managed to break both their necks. So he escaped the institution, and outside he found that the federal agents had been alerted of him and they were waiting outside for him. Stanley was shot multiple times, but he managed to kill all of them, and alleged accounts say that he picked up and threw a car at them and killed them all, but I find that a little hard to believe. More than likely, they were so terrified of the man that they didn't want to be anywhere near him, and if he got near him, he would probably grab hold of him and just kill him with his bare hands. Stanley escaped that night, and since that time, he hasn't been recaptured. According to many, though, his murders are still reported all across the country, like on Halloween in Mexico's Mexico City, 2013, and Palo Alto, California, 2017. And if he's still murdering, that places him, since he was born in 1912, at the astonishing age of 106, around there. Now the big question is the story true? Now we have no way of knowing for sure if Stanley ever really existed or not. There are no legitimate records or legal records, birth records, or anything like that to tell us. It appears that if he did exist, the government has completely scrubbed away any record of him, and all we're left with now are stories. Maybe he's real, or maybe he's not. Maybe he's still out there. Either way, I'm Elijah Henderson. Thank you for watching this story of this potentially true story of the real-life Michael Myers. Make sure to follow us on YouTube, Facebook, subscribe to us. Leave a comment below if you've ever had a weird story or have something you'd like to share. But give us a like. This is Elijah with Cryptid SI and Chasing Night Shadows. Thank you for watching.